My greedy sister-in-law demanded the money I had carefully saved for my unborn baby's hospital expenses, insisting that I hand it over to her. When I refused, her anger boiled over, and in a shocking act of rage, she kicked my 8-month pregnant belly. Pain ripped through me as I felt a sudden rush of fluid. I realized my water had broken. Everything blurred in that terrifying moment as chaos erupted around me. Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm 30 years old. I'm 8 months pregnant with my first child, and my husband, Logan, and I couldn't be more excited. These past few months have been a whirlwind of preparations, from decorating the nursery to attending parenting classes. Amid all this excitement, Logan and I made a point to save $20,000 specifically for our baby's medical expenses. It's our safety net, a way to ensure we're prepared for any unexpected challenges. We live in Denver, Colorado, and Logan's mom, Grace, has been an incredible source of support throughout my pregnancy. Since Logan's father passed away a few years ago, Grace has shown amazing resilience. Her warmth and encouragement have made her someone I deeply admire. She's been thrilled about becoming a grandmother and has helped us in so many ways, from offering parenting advice to making my favorite meals whenever we visit. However, not everyone in Logan's family has been as supportive. His older sister, Emily, has always been difficult to deal with. Over the past few years, she's struggled with infertility, which I sympathize with deeply. Unfortunately, her pain often turns into resentment toward me. Her comments are sometimes hurtful, but I've done my best to avoid confrontation. Logan and I make an effort to visit Grace when we know Emily won't be there, which has worked for the most part. Despite this tension, I try to focus on the positive. Logan and I are looking forward to meeting our little one, and we're doing everything we can to be prepared. For me, this pregnancy is a blessing, and I won't let anyone's negativity overshadow the joy of bringing a new life into our family. Little did I know, though, that the challenges we'd face were only just beginning. Logan and I planned a visit to Grace's house for a relaxing afternoon. She had invited us over for lunch, and I was looking forward to spending time with her and enjoying her homemade apple pie. Grace's home has always been a comforting place, and I knew it would be a welcome break from the business of preparing for the baby. When we arrived, however, we were surprised to find Logan's sister, Emily, already there. Her presence immediately put me on edge. Emily gave me a tight-lipped smile before making her first comment. "Still milking this pregnancy, huh?" she said with a sarcastic edge. "Must be nice to sit back and do nothing while everyone else works." I could feel my heart drop, but Logan stepped in quickly. "Emily, that's enough," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Hannah's 8 months pregnant. She's hardly sitting back and relaxing." Emily shrugged, feigning innocence. "I was just saying, it wouldn't hurt to pitch in every now and then." Grace, ever the peacemaker, tried to steer the conversation in a more positive direction, bringing up lighthearted topics to distract from the tension. Despite her efforts, the air remained heavy. I decided to stay quiet, not wanting to escalate the situation further. Logan's hand on my shoulder was a small but comforting gesture. The rest of the visit passed uneventfully, but the awkwardness lingered. Emily kept her distance for most of the afternoon, and I was grateful for that. Grace's kindness helped ease some of my discomfort, but I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling Emily's presence always brought. By the time we left, I was exhausted, not from the pregnancy, but from the emotional strain of trying to avoid conflict. Little did I realize, this was only a prelude to something far more intense. A few days later, I decided to visit Grace alone. Logan had some errands to run, and I wanted to take the chance to sit with Grace and talk about baby preparations. She always had great advice, and I looked forward to a peaceful, uplifting visit. When I arrived at Grace's house, I was surprised to see Emily sitting in the living room, scrolling through her phone. She looked up briefly and then went back to her screen. "Oh, it's you," she said, her tone indifferent. "Didn't think you'd be here today." I didn't know you'd be here either, I replied, trying to keep my voice polite. I felt a knot of unease form in my stomach, but I brushed it off and sat down. Emily set her phone aside and turned to face me, her expression unusually serious. I've been meaning to talk to you about something, she said. I hesitated, unsure of where this was going. What is it? Her words came bluntly, without hesitation. I need that $20,000 you and Logan saved for your baby's medical expenses. I stared at her, stunned. What? Emily, that money is for my baby. We've been saving for months to make sure we're prepared. She crossed her arms and leaned forward. You don't even know if you'll need it, she snapped. Meanwhile, I'm drowning in debt from fertility treatments. Family is supposed to help each other, and you're being selfish. I could barely believe what I was hearing. I'm sorry for your struggles, Emily, but I can't give you that money. It's for emergencies for my baby. Before Emily could respond, Grace walked into the room, her cheerful expression fading as she sensed the tension. What's going on? She asked, glancing between us. She's asking for the baby's medical fund, I explained, my voice shaking. Grace's face turned to shock. Emily, that money is for Hannah and the baby. You can't ask for that. Emily's expression darkened. Of course, you take her side, she said bitterly. Everything's about her now, isn't it? She's your favorite. Stop it, Emily, Grace said firmly. This is unreasonable. The conversation spiraled into heated words, but I held my ground. I refused to let her guilt me into giving up what my child might need. However, I couldn't have predicted how far Emily would go next. The argument with Emily escalated quickly. Her voice grew louder, and her accusations sharper. You have no idea what I've been through, she shouted. Do you even understand how hard it is to watch someone else live the life you'll never have? I took a deep breath, trying to keep calm. Emily, I'm sorry for your pain, but this isn't fair. I can't give you the money. It's for my baby. Emily's face twisted with anger. You don't deserve any of this. You're just a spoiled little gold digger who got lucky. Enough. Grace's voice cut through the room, trembling with frustration. Emily, this behavior is unacceptable. Before I could respond, Emily's rage boiled over. She lunged toward me, her movements quick and forceful. In an instant, her foot connected with my abdomen in a sharp, deliberate kick. A wave of searing pain shot through my body, and I gasped, clutching my stomach. Time seemed to slow as I felt a sudden rush of fluid. My heart sank as I realized what was happening. My water just broke, I whispered, my voice trembling with fear. Grace screamed, rushing to my side as I collapsed onto the couch. What have you done, Emily? She cried, her voice shaking with panic. Hannah, stay with me. I'm calling an ambulance. Emily froze, her face pale. I didn't mean for this to happen, she stammered, backing away. The pain was unbearable, and my breaths came in short, desperate gasps. Grace held my hand tightly, trying to reassure me. Help is on the way, she said, her voice breaking. Just hold on. As my vision blurred, I could hear Emily's frantic excuses, but her words became a distant echo. The last thing I saw before everything went dark was Grace's terrified face as she stayed by my side. I woke up in a hospital bed, disoriented and in pain. The sterile smell of the room and the beeping of machines brought me back to reality. I reached instinctively for my stomach and felt its absence, my heart racing with panic. My baby, what had happened to my baby? Frantically, I pressed the nurse call button. Moments later, a nurse entered, her expression calm but concerned. Mrs. Hannah, you're awake. Please try to stay calm. Everything is under control for now. Where's my baby? I managed to whisper, my throat dry and voice trembling. The nurse placed a comforting hand on my arm. Your daughter is in the neonatal intensive care unit. She's stable but premature and will need some time to grow stronger. You both went through a lot, but the doctors acted quickly. Relief washed over me, but it was quickly replaced by anger and fear. My baby had come into the world far too soon because of Emily's recklessness. I resolved then and there to recover as quickly as possible so I could be by my daughter's side. A few minutes later, Logan entered the room. His face was a mix of relief and rage. He rushed to my side, his hand gripping mine tightly. "You're awake," he said, his voice cracking. "Thank God. Our little girl is fighting hard. She's strong, just like you." Tears filled my eyes as he continued. "But Hannah, what Emily did, we can't let it slide. I've already contacted a lawyer. She needs to be held accountable." I nodded weakly, the weight of the situation settling on me. "She nearly took everything from us," I whispered. Grace visited soon after, her eyes red from crying. "Hannah, I am so sorry for what happened," she said, guilt heavy in her voice. "Emily crossed a line, and I'll do whatever I can to help you." I reassured her that this wasn't her fault, but the damage was done. My focus now was on my daughter's recovery and on making sure Emily faced the consequences of her actions. 2 days after the surgery, while I was still recovering in the hospital, Emily walked into my room unexpectedly. Her husband trailed behind her, looking uneasy. Emily's face was a mix of defiance and something resembling remorse, though it was hard to tell. "I came to apologize," she began, her tone flat and insincere. "I didn't mean for things to get out of hand." I stared at her, struggling to contain my anger. "You kicked me, Emily. I almost lost my baby because of you." She rolled her eyes, waving her hand dismissively. "It wasn't intentional. I was upset, okay? But I'm here to make things right. We'll cover some of your medical bills. How about $5,000? Before I could respond, Logan walked in, his expression dark with barely contained fury. $5,000, he said, his voice low and sharp. "You risked my wife's and my daughter's lives, and now you think you can buy your way out of it." Emily's husband tried to intervene, holding up his hands. "Look, we're just trying to resolve this without dragging it out." Logan's gaze shifted to him, cold and unwavering. "This isn't something you can fix with money. What Emily did was assault, and there are going to be consequences." Emily's mask of composure cracked. "You're all overreacting," she snapped. "I've had a hard enough time as it is, and now you're punishing me for one mistake." "One mistake?" I said, my voice trembling with anger. "You put my baby's life at risk. This isn't about your struggles, it's about your actions." When it became clear that we weren't going to accept her offer, Emily stormed out, muttering about how unreasonable we were. Logan wasted no time. That evening, we filed a police report against her for assault and reckless endangerment. Grace, horrified by her daughter's behavior, provided crucial evidence. Security cameras in her living room had captured the entire incident, the argument, the kick, and my collapse. The footage was undeniable proof of Emily's aggression. As the investigation began, Emily continued to deny responsibility, claiming I had provoked her and insisting the kick was an accident. But the evidence told a different story, and I was determined to see justice served. The trial began 2 months later, and Emily arrived in court with her lawyer, looking composed but defensive. Logan and I sat together, determined to see this through. The security footage Grace had provided was the cornerstone of our case, showing the undeniable truth of what had happened that day. Emily's lawyer attempted to paint the incident as a misunderstanding, claiming that the kick had been unintentional and that Emily had been emotional due to her personal struggles. She acted out of frustration, the lawyer argued. It was a moment of poor judgment, not malice. But the prosecution presented the video evidence, which showed Emily's aggressive behavior and the deliberate nature of her actions. They also highlighted her history of hostility toward me, further proving that this was no accident. When Emily took the stand, her composure cracked under questioning. She tried to shift the blame, claiming I had provoked her. "I was pushed to my breaking point," she said, her voice rising. She wouldn't understand what it's like to face constant failure. Her outbursts only hurt her case, and things took a dramatic turn when the prosecution played additional footage of her yelling and lunging at me during the argument. The evidence was clear. Emily's actions were deliberate, reckless, and dangerous. As if to seal her fate, Emily's erratic behavior continued outside the courtroom. During one of the legal meetings, she lost her temper and threw a cup of coffee at me, though thankfully it was cold. This incident was immediately reported and added to the charges, further demonstrating her lack of control. The judge delivered the verdict swiftly. Emily was found guilty of assault and reckless endangerment. She was sentenced to 6 months of probation, ordered to attend anger management classes, and required to pay $50,000 in damages. This amount covered my medical expenses, my daughter's extended NICU stay, and compensation for the emotional distress caused by her actions. Hearing the verdict, I felt a sense of closure. Emily had finally been held accountable and justice had been served. Logan squeezed my hand, and I knew we had taken an important step in protecting our family. With the trial behind us, Logan and I were ready to move forward. The stress of the legal battle had taken its toll, but knowing that Emily had been held accountable brought us a sense of relief. We decided it was time to leave Denver and start fresh in Austin, Texas, a city we had always dreamed of living in. The move wasn't just about escaping Emily. It was about creating a safe and peaceful environment for our family. We changed our phone numbers and limited contact with extended relatives who tried to mediate on Emily's behalf. Grace supported our decision wholeheartedly, though it broke her heart to see us leave. She promised to visit often and stayed in touch with us as we settled into our new home. Meanwhile, our baby girl remained in the NICU, continuing her fight to grow stronger. Every day, Logan and I spent hours by her side, talking to her, holding her tiny hand, and cheering her on through the incubator glass. She became our symbol of resilience, a reminder of the strength we had to find in ourselves. After 2 long months, we finally received the news we had been waiting for. Our daughter was ready to come home. The day we brought her home was one of the most profound moments of my life. Holding her in my arms, I felt a wave of gratitude and love that eclipsed all the pain we had endured. We named her Lily, a name that symbolized purity and new beginnings. Every night, as I rocked her to sleep, I was reminded of how precious life is and how much we had fought to protect her. Though the shadows of what Emily had done lingered in the background, they no longer defined us. Logan and I focused on building a future filled with joy, love, and the hope that our daughter's life would always be surrounded by positivity and peace. As we settled into our new chapter, I knew we had turned the page on the past. We were stronger, closer, and more determined than ever to protect the beautiful family we had created. In the months that followed, our lives began to settle into a peaceful rhythm. Logan and I focused on raising Lily, celebrating every milestone she reached with gratitude. Her resilience inspired us daily, reminding us of the strength it took to get here. Emily, on the other hand, faced the consequences of her actions. The legal punishment she received strained her relationships with friends and family. Many distanced themselves, appalled by what she had done. Her financial troubles deepened as she struggled to pay the court-ordered damages, leaving her isolated and burdened by debt. Eventually, she left Denver to start over in another city, cutting ties with most of the family. Grace kept us updated occasionally, though she respected our decision to maintain distance. Despite her heartbreak over Emily's choices, she fully supported us, understanding that protecting our family was the priority. For me, the journey was not just about healing physically, but also emotionally. I often reflected on what had happened and how it tested my strength, my relationship with Logan, and my determination to protect my daughter. The ordeal had been painful, but it taught me the importance of standing up for myself and my family, even when it meant confronting those closest to us. Logan and I made it a point to focus on the future rather than dwelling on the past. Our new home in Austin became a sanctuary filled with love and laughter. We surrounded ourselves with supportive friends and built a community that embraced us during this new chapter of our lives. As I rocked Lily to sleep one evening, I whispered a promise to her, a promise to always fight for her, no matter the challenges we faced. She had come into this world under the most difficult circumstances, but she was a testament to the resilience of our family. Though the scars of what Emily had done would always remain, they were a reminder of the strength we had found within ourselves. Logan and I emerged stronger, ready to embrace the bright future we had worked so hard to secure for Lily and for us. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this story. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like to let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so don't forget to leave a comment below and share your favorite part of the story. And if you want to hear more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support means the world to me. Thank you for being a part of this journey.